Testing. 칠, 칠건 칠, 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 칠건 칠, 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 칠건 칠, 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 칠건 칠, 칠, 칠.
Most respectful greetings to all the distinguished members who are present here. We request all of you to be kindly seated. No movements will be allowed inside the auditorium after 9:30. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid the interruption throughout the event. This is not. We request all the honorable members to kindly be seated. No movements will be allowed inside the auditorium after 9:30 a.m. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. As we are about to begin, we humbly seek your support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. You give. We request all the members to raise up as the arrival of the Honorable Governor inside the auditorium. We also request all the members to join the group photograph at the closure of the session. All the Vice Chancellors are expected to join the same after His Excellency departs the auditorium.
The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated, please. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. We request all the members to be seated. Which one? To rise up. We request all the members rise up as the arrival of Honorable Governor. We request all the members to rise up as the arrival of Honorable Governor.
This is a gentle reminder. At the closure of the session, there is a group photograph. All the invited Vice Chancellors are expected to join the same after His Excellency departs the auditorium. We repeat, at the closure of the session, there is a group photograph. All the Vice Chancellors are expected to join the same after His Excellency departs the auditorium.
Respectful greetings to everyone. The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated. We humbly seek your support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. Thank you. At the closure of the inaugural session, there is a group photograph. All the invited Vice Chancellors, chairpersons, and keynote speakers of various sessions are expected to join the same after the Honorable Governor departs the auditorium. After the national anthem, please stand up till the completion of Tamil Thai Valthu and the University Prayer Song.
A gentle reminder, we'll begin the session with the national anthem, followed by Tamil Thai Vartha and the university prayer song. We request all the members to keep standing until the completion of all the three prayers. We repeat, we'll begin the session with the national anthem, followed by Tamil Thai Vartha and the university prayer song. We request all the honorable members to keep standing until the completion of all the three prayers.
The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated, please.
We repeat, the inaugural session is going to begin in few minutes. We request all the members to kindly be seated inside the auditorium. Those who are standing inside the auditorium, we request all of you to kindly be seated.
Delegates and attendees, kindly be seated.
We repeat, we are going to begin the inaugural session within some time. We request all the members to be seated until we begin the session. Gentle reminder, all the members who are standing outside, kindly get inside the auditorium. The inaugural session will begin within few minutes. We request all the members to kindly be seated. Dear delegates and attendees, we repeat, we request all the members to kindly be seated inside the auditorium. The inaugural session will begin within few minutes.
We request all the members to be seated. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. Thank you.
Should be like this, right? Okay, അപ്പോൾ ഇത് രണ്ട് നമുക്ക്
The inaugural session is about to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated.
We repeat, the inaugural session will begin within few minutes. We request all the members to be seated.
Most respectful greetings to all the distinguished members who are present here. The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated, please.
Dear attendees and delegates, the inaugural session will begin within few minutes. We request all the members to be inside the auditorium and kindly be seated. We request all the members who are standing here to kindly be seated inside the auditorium. I repeat, we request all the members who are standing here to kindly be seated inside the auditorium.
I didn't open it. Yeah. We once again request all the members to be seated.
Dear delegates and attendees, the inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated. No movements will be allowed inside the auditorium until the arrival of Honorable Governor. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event.
The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. As we are about to begin, we humbly seek your support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. Thank you. The inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated.
Check this. Testing. Check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Check this. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Check. Testing. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Dear delegates, we request all of you to be seated, please. Dear delegates, we request all of you to be seated, please.
Dear delegates and attendees, Honorable Governor will arrive inside the auditorium within few minutes. It will be difficult to scramble for the seat after that, so kindly be seated now. We request all the delegates and attendees to kindly be seated.
Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. Dear delegates, His Excellency will arrive in any minute. It will be difficult to scramble for seat after that. Kindly please be seated now. Dear delegates, His Excellency will arrive in any minute. It will be difficult to scramble for seat after that. Kindly please be seated now.
We repeat, dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency will arrive inside the auditorium any minute. It will be difficult to scramble for a seat after that, so kindly be seated now.
So kind reminder that please kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode.
We repeat, the inaugural session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to kindly be seated. Kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. As we are about to begin the program, we humbly seek your support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. We request all the members to kindly be seated and maintain the silence inside the auditorium. A gentle reminder, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin the session, we will have the national anthem followed by Tamil Thai Vartha and the university prayer song. We request all the members to keep standing until the completion of all the three prayers. I repeat, as we begin the inaugural session, we will have a national anthem followed by Tamil Thai Varthu and the university prayer song. We request all the members to keep standing until the completion of all the three prayers.
Kindly please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. Please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin the inauguration, we request all the members to kindly be seated and maintain the silence inside the auditorium. Ladies and gentlemen, we repeat, as we are about to begin the inaugural session, we remind all the members to kindly be seated and maintain the silence inside the auditorium.
Dear delegates, the Excellency is on his way. Please maintain the silence.
We repeat, dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is on the way that he will arrive any time inside the auditorium. We request all the members to kindly be seated and maintain the discipline.
Dear delegates, kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode. As we are about to begin, we humbly seek your support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. Thank you.
Dear delegates and attendees, as we are about to begin the inaugural, we request all the members to kindly be seated.
We request all the members to be seated. Please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. Please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on.
Dear delegates, as we are about to begin the session, we seek your complete support and cooperation in the successful conduct of this event. Kindly be seated and maintain silence inside the auditorium.
session is going to begin in a few minutes. We request all the members to be seated, please. We kindly request you to maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. We kindly request you to maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. Please check whether you have turned your mobile phones into a silent mode. Please check whether your mobile phones into silent mode.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to begin the session, we request all the members to kindly be seated and maintain silence inside the auditorium. I repeat, as we are about to begin the inaugural session, we request all the members to kindly be seated and maintain silence inside the auditorium.
Please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. Thank you.
Dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is about to arrive. Please take your positions and be ready to welcome him. Please get your seats quickly. Let's maintain silence inside the auditorium until his arrival.
Dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is about to arrive in any minute. Please take your positions and be ready to welcome him. Dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is about to arrive in any minute. Please take your positions and be ready to welcome him.
Dear delegates and attendees, as we are about to begin, kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption. I repeat, as we are about to begin, kindly switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid the interruption.
Please switch your mobile phones to the silent mode to avoid interruption throughout the event. Please maintain the silence and avoid any movements from now on. Thank you.
Most respected greetings to all the honorable dignitaries. As we begin the session, may I kindly request you all to rise up for the national anthem, followed by Tamil Thai Vartha and the university prayer song. We request all the members to kindly keep standing until the completion of all the three anthems.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलति तरंगा
humbly invite the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu for the lamp lighting ceremony. We also invite all the respected dignitaries on the dais to kindly come forward for the lighting of the lamp.
I am profusely elated to invite the AAU President, Colonel Dr. G. Tiruvasagam, to offer a floral welcome to the Honorable Governor. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. P. Kaliraj, to welcome the Honorable Governor with a memento.
Thank you, dignitaries. Now, we are quite honored to invite Professor Dr. P. Kaliraj, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Bharatiya University, to welcome the august gathering.
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu through R.N. Ravi, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu through M.K. Stalin, respected President AAU and Vice Chancellor Ahmed University, Colonel Dr. G. Tiruvasagam, Vice Chancellors of various universities of Southern India, respected Secretary General AAU Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Registrar Bharatiya University, Professor K. Murugavel, syndicate members and senate members of Bharatiya University, head of the departments of Bharatiya University, faculty members and staff members of Bharatiya University, research scholars, students, people from press, a very good morning to everyone. I heartily welcome all of you for the South Zone Vice Chancellors meet on realizing sustainable development goals through higher education institutions for ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education, organized by Association of Indian Universities and hosted by our Bharatiya University, Coimbatore. Association of Indian Universities South Zone Vice Chancellors meet is being hosted by Bharatiya University, Coimbatore through blended mode during March 11th and 12th, 2022 on the theme Realizing SDGs through Higher Education Institutions for ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education. I respectfully welcome our Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu through R.N. Ravi. Honorable Governor has a rich experience in Intelligence Bureau and successful experience as Governor of Nagaland. The Nagaland Peace Accord between Nagas and Indian government was achieved during His Excellency's tenure in August 2015. It's a major breakthrough for achieving peace in the region since the 1997 ceasefire agreement. I respectfully welcome our Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Sri M.K. Stalin, who had initiated several programs useful to common people, including launching of a novel scheme of providing health services at the doorsteps of people, Makkalai Thedi Marthuvam, and the Illam Thedi Kalvi program, which intends to provide quality education for all children, especially to bridge the learning loss during lockdown. I welcome our Honorable Minister of Higher Education of Tamil Nadu, Dr. K. Ponmudi, for his felicitation address. I welcome the President, Association of Indian Universities, and Vice Chancellor, Amat University, Colonel Dr. G. Thiruvasagam, who also served as a Vice Chancellor of our Bharatiya University earlier. I welcome the Vice President, Association of Indian Universities, Dr. Suranjan Das, and other officials of AAU. I welcome the Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, Dr. Pankaj Mittal. Dr. Pankaj Mittal has more than 3 decades of experience in higher education, including the first Vice Chancellor of the Rural Women University in 2008. I welcome the Vice Chancellors of various universities from South Zone and other zones for this meet. Universities and Vice Chancellors play an important role in bringing out reforms in higher education. I am sure your participation will help in realizing the SDGs 4 in the higher education institutions. I welcome the syndicate members and Senate members of Bharatiya University, who are the backbone of this university and play a vital role in the administration of the university. It is my privilege to welcome principals and secretaries of our affiliated institutions. I welcome all the head of the departments of Bharatiya University, faculty members and staff members of Bharatiya University and other academic institutions, research scholars, students, and staff from press for this meet. This two-day event will discuss on the action points for higher education institutions from various dimensions of higher education institutions. I am confident that all the higher education institutions will leave no stone unturned to realize the Sustainable Development Goal 4. I once again welcome Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu and everyone for this meet. And I am very sure that the discussion of this meet will be fruitful.
Thank you, sir.
We are delighted to invite Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, AIU, to deliver the theme address.
His Excellency, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Shri R.N. Raviji, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, who is joining us virtually, Shri M.K. Stalinji, Honorable President of AIU, Colonel Dr. G. Thiruvasagamji, the Vice Chancellor of the host university, Bharatiya University, who is hosting this conference, Professor P. Kalirajji, esteemed Vice Chancellors from various universities who have joined here from the South Zone, the Registrar of the University, Bharatiya University, Shri Muru Goivalji, distinguished chairpersons and speakers of the technical sessions, representatives of the apex body, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the AIU South Zone Conference, which is being held on the theme, Realizing SDGs through HEIs for ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education. I would like to thank Bharatiya University for agreeing to host this meet on behalf of Association of Indian Universities and for making excellent arrangements for the meet. I would also like to thank His Excellency Shri R.N. Raviji for agreeing to be the chief guest and for inaugurating this meet. You all know that India is placed at 120. The rank of India is 120 as far as the realization of SDGs goes. And the time available with us is only till 2030. The Times Higher Education did an impact ranking of universities with regard to implementation of SDGs, and you will be surprised to know that in top 800, only 19 universities figured. Only one university in top 1 to 100, that was from South, Amrita University. From 100 to 200, only 2 universities, JSS and LPU. From 200 to 400, 4 universities, KEET, VIT, Calcutta and Don Bosco, and 400, 800, there were 12 universities. So this makes us ponder that how can the higher education institutions contribute in realizing the SDGs? We do realize that we have only 8 years left with us and a lot is to be done. We are still at 120th position. Therefore, AIU took it upon itself that we have a large higher education system with about 1,000 universities, 45,000 colleges, around 15 lakh teachers and 3.7 crore students. So if higher education institutions take it upon themselves to implement the SDGs, we can be implementing it in a much greater speed. Therefore, AIU felt that we should be devoting the entire year on implementing SDGs. Therefore, the 6 conferences AIU holds, as you all know, that AIU is growing slowly, thanks to our vice chancellors and the universities. Right now, we have around 875 universities as the members of AIU, including 17 international universities. We are engaging with the universities in academics, research, youth affairs, sports, and the government of India has given us the mandate to equate the foreign degrees with the Indian degrees. So in keeping with our tradition of having a lot of academic activities, and in keeping with our tradition of having the vice chancellors meet every year, we hold 1 national and 5 zonal meets. So this year the theme which we kept was realizing SDGs through HEIs. And we felt that the HEIs are not only responsible for one SDG, that is SDG 4, which relates to education, but all the 17 SDGs. Therefore, we held 5 zonal meets. This is the 5th one. First 4 we held, in which we combined 4 SDGs. So 16 SDGs have already been debated upon in our zonal conferences. This meet we exclusively kept for the SDG 4 because it is relating to quality education. So 4 in Shulini we held 4 SDGs we held in all the 4 conferences, and this one is the 5th conference. The earlier conferences were held in North Zone in the Shulini University, West Zone in the VIT Vishwanath Karad MIT University, East Zone in Tejpur University, Central Zone we held in Shri Vaishnav Vidyapith Indore, and the South Zone we are holding the Bhartiya University. And the main conference, which will be held from 23rd to 25th March, in that all the 17 SDGs will be considered, and that will be hosted at Mysore University. The Vice Chancellor is here. So that will be, and I'll also request all the Vice Chancellors present here, please do attend that meet at Mysore from 23rd to 25th of March in physical capacity, and it will be a wonderful meet where all the 17 SDGs will be considered. Last year, we could not hold much because of COVID. We could not hold physical meetings, but yet AIU did not stop. Just for the information of His Excellency and the information of all the Vice Chancellors who are present here, AIU did not stop during the Corona. We did many things, like we digitized the AIU University News. We had several roundtables of Vice Chancellors, all online. Even to train the teachers on how to teach online effectively, because that was the main issue which stuck up all the universities, that how to teach online effectively. We made a platform called QuedX in collaboration with Quaspir UK, in which a training is given to the teachers on how to teach online effectively. We had many research publications, India Higher Education Profile, which will be released shortly by the Honorable Governor, sir. We had survey report on preparedness of Indian higher education institutions on online education. We had a document on national education policy on how to implement it. In sports, we did very well. We held first Khelo India University Games in Keet University, and again in the South region only, second Khelo India University Games, which is inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India, will be held in Jain University, Bangalore. And you'll also be happy that our universities contributed to the Olympic Games. And in the Tokyo Olympics, in 10 sports, 39 players went from the universities. I'm the ones who had played AIU games at the university level. 4 medals were won in the World University Games, and 4 medals were also won in the World University Chess Game. Equivalence, again, you will be happy to know that now we have computerized all the functioning of AIU. So equivalence is totally online, whether you want to apply payment or even the certificate is downloaded online. University handbook is something which right now we are doing. So again, I'll request all the Vice Chancellors that please fill in your information with regard to university handbook, because we are going to publish it very soon. And if your information is not there, So it will be missing from the handbook, which travels far and wide all over the world. Internationalization, we are making one Indian network of international higher educators. So many more things which I will be sharing with you in the AIU business session at what all we are doing. So we are having this particular meet for the SDG 4, and there are 4 sessions. There will be one AIU business session, and there will be one session which will be in interaction with the regulatory bodies, because the vice chancellors have a lot to talk to regulatory bodies and they don't get a chance. So one session is specially crafted for you to interact with the regulatory bodies. And I'm sure you will be benefiting a lot from the meet. Thank you very much and welcome all of you once again. Thank you.
Now, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. G. Tiruvasagam, the President of AIU, who is the former Vice Chancellor of Bharatiyar University, the University of Madras, and the present Vice Chancellor of Amit University. May I now request you, sir, to deliver the presidential address.
His Excellency, the Governor of Tamil Nadu, and the Chancellor of the State Universities of Tamil Nadu, through R.N. Ravi, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, through M.K. Stalin, who will be delivering his speech virtually. Revered and most respected Vice Chancellor of this esteemed Bharatiyar University, Professor P. Kaliraj, beloved and respected Secretary General of AIU, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, importantly, Honorable Vice Chancellor of various universities of the southern states of India, respected Registrar of the University, Dr. Murugavel, most respected officials of the Coimbatore district, respected syndicate and senate members of the Bharatiyar University, my ever affectionate faculty and staff of Bharatiyar University, friends from media, good morning to every one of you. Indeed, this day and this occasion are historical for the Association of Indian Universities. AU has conducted many South Zone Vice Chancellor conferences in the past in Tamil Nadu. On no previous occasions have His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu and the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu participated in the Vice Chancellor's conference. Their presence here today shows their immense interest in the higher education system of India. It also reveals their personal efforts to encourage the Vice Chancellors, the academic leaders of the universities to work further with more vigor and confidence. I thank Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu and Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for their distinguished participation in this mega event. Moreover, as a president of the AAU, I had the privilege of selecting a university among the universities of all the 5 South Zones to conduct the South Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. Bharatiyar University has been selected as the host university to conduct South Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. It's not only because of its global and national ranking, but also because this university is where I had the rare opportunity of commencing my Vice Chancellorship, which has given me expertise abundantly in university administration and enabled me to be a successful Vice Chancellor for the last 16 years in another 2 universities. Being the senior-most Vice Chancellor among all the Vice Chancellors of the universities of India, I have been elected as the 100th President of AAU. At this juncture, I would like to thank and to salute all the faculty and the staff of those universities and today of this Temple of Learning, the esteemed Bharatiyar University. We are celebrating 75 years of independence, simultaneously 75 years of education in independent India. There has been considerable expansion of higher education in our country in the 75 years after independence. The country is at the threshold of a new revolution in education, marked by paradigm shift at every level. We are at a critical juncture today, where on the one hand, we have geared ourselves towards becoming a knowledge superpower and a fast-growing economy. And on the other hand, we have a major chunk of the population, which of course is manpower, but a not human resource in the literal sense of the term. To convert this chunk of manpower into potential human resources and take advantage of democratic dividend, a mission mode approach is required. The focus of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, is to make every citizen of the country equipped to utilize all the benefits available to them in the civilized society. Yes, friends, as narrated by Secretary General of AAU, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, the 6th edition of the Sustainable Development Report, which were released on June 14, 2021, shows the performance and implementation of Sustainable Development Goals along with the global ranking. India ranked at 120th out of 165 countries with a country score of 60%. Finland topped the ranking with a score of 85.90, followed by Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and Belgium, based on their performance against 17 SDGs. At the same time, India's spillover score stands at 98.90 out of 100 and spillover rank at 32 out of 165 countries. A country with a high spillover score indicates that country causes more positive spillovers and less negative spillovers. Every country's action plan can cause positive and negative effects on other countries' ability to achieve the SDGs. SDG is not new to India. It is there in our Constitution of India. It is there in many policies of educational policies of India as well. The preamble of the Indian Constitution explicitly mentions that all citizens should be secured with dignity, freedom, and equality, including equal opportunities and status. These principles are also enshrined in the field of education. Kothari Commission during 1964-66 brought these ideas together in its report and directed us to provide equal educational opportunities to backward and underprivileged classes and individuals. The National Education Policy on Education, NEP 1968, emphasized the providing of educational opportunities to all sections of the society, including girls, minorities, disadvantaged classes, tribal people, and rural areas. The revised National Education Policy of 1986 laid emphasis on all learners attaining substantial learning at different levels of education. NEP 1992 prioritized three principles, namely encourage, educate, and employ, with the aim of providing sustainable living to all the citizens. Likewise, NEP 2020 also laid down programs and recommendations to ensure equity and excellence in the higher education institutions. Yes, SDG 4 basically instilled by the principle of Millennium Development Goals and Dhaka 2000 framework of education for all. UNESCO has differentiated SDG 4, MDG 2, and EFA. Targets set in SDG 4 are broader in terms of its scope, geographical coverage, and policy implementation from MDG 2 and EFA 1. Embedded in the ambitious agenda, SDG 4 ensures educational opportunities for all, regardless of caste, creeds, colors, religion, region, etc. Targets adopted in SDG 4 center on inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning as well. We should be grateful to the Government of India and the Government of Tamil Nadu, who have taken steps already to see that all SDGs are being implemented. The Indian government is taking a critical move to achieve 2030 agenda of SDG 4. With this mind, a high priority has been given to address the educational challenges in an integrated and holistic manner in the country. Several measures have been initiated to strengthen and promote inclusive, equitable, and quality education in India. As a result, There is a considerable development in the education sector over the years. Yet, the challenges remain. Gender equity in education has considerably improved in recent years. However, the progress has mixed results. While gender parity in school education has progressed significantly, it is not as satisfactory in higher education. The gender gap in education seems to widen as students move to higher levels in the field of education. India has made tremendous strides in terms of enrollment in education, cutting across gender, caste, and religion. However, in terms of equal access to education, India still has a considerable distance to travel. Getting all the diverse learners into schools, colleges, and universities with the quality standard need enormous funding. STC 4 calls to increase public funding for education. By looking at the current investment pattern in education, it will be inadequate for India to achieve 2030 agenda of SDG 4. It is for the kind information of the participants here. I traced the reason for the Finland got the first rank. The most important factor to be noted, in Finland, no tuition fee is being collected from all levels of students, starting from school level to higher education level. This is the reason they are able to achieve many things. Such level of funding should be made available to the institutions of India, irrespective of private or public as well. How our higher education institution can implement the sustainable development goal, a few of my thoughts. Universities should revise their curricula to insert the components for environmental concerns in every subject and every topic. This implies revising teaching content to respond to global and local challenges. It requires broader and more flexible approach to the development and teaching of academic disciplines. It should also promote teaching methods that enable students to acquire skills such as interdisciplinary thinking, integrated planning, understanding complexity, cooperating with others in decision-making processes, and participating in local, national, and global processes towards sustainable development. Friends, education for sustainable development should start as a race, inspiring competitive spirit so as to ensure that education triumphs over environmental degradation. Education for sustainable development is an emerging imperative. It represents a major shift in the way students are taught and learn within the higher education sector. Much of this change should be in line with what graduates will need and increasingly complex work environment. This is the challenge we as Vice Chancellors should address. Before concluding my address, I would like to remember and recollect the words of former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam, which is very appropriate when we are talking about 17 SDGs, especially SDG number 4, that is equity and excellence in education. I quote, "Any country can produce one or two great men that may prove the country's potential, but there is no guarantee that the country will be great. It is only when the level of all the average men and women in a given country is high that country can be said to be great." This is the words of APJ Abdul Kalam. Yes, by showing Mr. Sundar Pichai as CEO of Alphabet, Mr. Thomas Kurian, CEO of Google Cloud, Mr. Barack Agarwal, CEO of Twitter, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar and Dhoni as cricketers, India can be proud and proud of them. We can showcase them also to the outside world. At the same time, there are around 70% eligible students, because GER at present is around 30%, who are unable to enter higher education institutions in our country, either due to their poverty or disadvantage of their location. Moreover, there are graduates of professional and other courses who are unemployed due to the poor quality of education they received from higher education institutions of India. It's a duty of every one of us, especially Vice Chancellors, to ensure equal opportunity to all levels of the children of Bharat Mata and work for them to attain coveted positions and par with others by sincerely implementing the Sustainable Development Goals and give meaning to the definition of higher education of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. India has come long way in promoting inclusive, equitable, and quality education. Though considerable improvement has been witnessed in the education system in India, it has a long way to meet Goal 4 of the SDG. Such effort will require good policy, close monitoring, and the required investment of money, time, and effort. By doing so, a decade-long mission culminating in 2030 with a vision of improving inclusive, equitable, and quality education will certainly yield a sustainable future, providing decent work and improved quality of life for one and all. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you, sir.
With the permission of Honorable His Excellency Honorable Governor, I would like to present before you the greeting message sent by the Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Dr. பொன்மடி. வாழ்த்துச் செய்தி. அனைவருக்கும் சமமான தரமான கல்வியை உறுதி செய்ததற்கு நிலையான வளர்ச்சி இலக்குகளை உயர்கல்வி நிறுவனங்களின் மூலம் கொண்டு சேர்ப்பதற்கு இந்திய பல்கலைக்கழகங்களின் கூட்டமைப்பால் கோயம்புத்தூர் பாரதியார் பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் நடத்தப்படும் இந்த தென் மாநிலங்களின் பல்கலைக்கழக துணைவேந்தர்கள் கூட்டம் சிறப்புடன் நடைபெற எனது வாழ்த்துக்களை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். கையொப்பம் டாக்டர் பொன்முடி, உயர்கல்வித்துறை அமைச்சர், தமிழ்நாடு அரசு. நன்றி.
Thank you, sir.
மாண்புமிகு தமிழக முதல்வர் திரு மு.க. ஸ்டாலின் அவர்களை இந்த கருத்தரங்கிற்கு வரவேற்கிறோம். தற்பொழுது மாண்புமிகு தமிழக முதல்வர் திரு மு.க. ஸ்டாலின் அவர்கள் காணொளி வாயிலாக நம்முடன் உரையாற்றுவார்.
தென் மாநில பல்கலைக்கழக துணைவேந்தர்களின் மாநாட்டை தொடங்கி வைத்து தொடக்க உரை ஆற்றியுள்ள மாண்புமிகு தமிழ்நாடு ஆளுநர் அவர்களே, மாநாட்டிற்கு தலைமையேற்றுள்ள அனைத்திந்திய பல்கலைக்கழக கூட்டமைப்பின் தலைவர் துணைவேந்தர் திரு திருவாசகம் அவர்களே, வரவேற்புரை நிகழ்த்திய பாரதியார் பல்கலைக்கழகத்தின் துணைவேந்தர் திரு பி காளிராஜ் அவர்களே, அனைத்திந்திய பல்கலைக்கழக கூட்டமைப்பின் செக்ரட்டரி ஜெனரல் முனைவர் திருமிகு பங்கஜ் மிட்டல் அவர்களே, இம்மாபெரும் உயர்கல்வி மாநாட்டில் பங்கு பெற்றுள்ள தென் மாநிலங்களில் உள்ள பல்வேறு பல்கலைக்கழகங்களின் துணைவேந்தர்களே, மாநாட்டில் உரையாற்ற உள்ள மரியாதைக்குரிய கல்வியாளர்களே, மாநில மற்றும் ஒன்றிய அரசினை சார்ந்த பல்வேறு துறைசார் வல்லுநர்களே, கலந்து கொண்டுள்ள பேராசிரியர் பெருமக்களே, உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய அன்பான வணக்கம். தேசிய அளவிலான தரவரிசை பட்டியலில் தமிழ்நாட்டு பல்கலைக்கழகங்களில் முதலிடம் பெற்று மாநிலத்துக்கே முன்னோடியாக திகழ்கின்ற பாரதியார் பல்கலைக்கழகம் மற்றும் அனைத்து இந்திய பல்கலைக்கழக கூட்டமைப்பு இணைந்து நடத்தும் இந்த மாநாடு ஆக்கபூர்வமானதாக அமைய வேண்டும் என முதலில் வாழ்த்துகிறேன். இந்த மாநாட்டின் மையப் பொருளாக உயர்கல்வி நிறுவனங்கள் மூலம் ஒருங்கிணைந்த சமமான மற்றும் தரமான கல்வியினை நடைமுறைப்படுத்துதலின் அவசியம் என்கிற ஐக்கிய நாடுகள் அமைப்பின் அறைகூவல் அமைந்துள்ளது. நாட்டின் நிலையான நீடித்த வளர்ச்சிக்கு அடித்தளமாக அமையும் என நம்புகிறேன். இந்த அடிப்படையில்தான் தமிழ்நாட்டில் உள்ள பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் தரமான உயர்கல்வி வழங்குவதில் மற்ற மாநிலங்களுக்கெல்லாம் முன்னோடியாக திகழ்கிறது. அறிவுபூர்வமான அறிவியல் சார்ந்த உண்மைகளை மட்டுமே பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் ஊக்குவிக்கும் வகையில் தமிழ்நாட்டில் அனைத்து பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் செயல்பட்டு வருகின்றன. ஆகவேதான் தென்னகத்தை சார்ந்த 6 மாநிலங்களின் பல்கலைக்கழக துணைவேந்தர்கள் இருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த வகையில் தமிழ்நாடு உயர்கல்வியில் சிறந்து விளங்குகிறது என்பதை தெரிவிப்பதற்கு பெருமையாக இருக்கிறது. இத்தகைய பெருமையினையும் புகழையும் பெற்று தந்துள்ள தமிழக அரசின் உயர்கல்வித்துறை மற்றும் தமிழ்நாட்டில் உள்ள பல்கலைக்கழகங்களை நெஞ்சார பாராட்டுகிறேன். 2020-21 ஆண்டுக்கான தேசிய நிறுவனங்களுக்கான தரவரிசை கட்டமைப்பில் அனைத்து இந்திய அளவிலே தமிழ்நாட்டின் 19 பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் மற்றும் 33 கல்லூரிகள் முதல் 100 இடங்களுக்குள் உள்ளன. சென்னையில் உள்ள லைலா கல்லூரி அனைத்து இந்திய அளவில் 3வது இடமும் பெற்று தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு பெருமை சேர்த்திருக்கின்றன. பள்ளி கல்வி முடித்து உயர்கல்விக்கு பயில வரும் மாணவர்களின் சேர்க்கை விகிதம் தேசிய அளவில் 27.1 விழுக்காடு. ஆனால் தமிழ்நாட்டில் மாணவர் சேர்க்கை விகிதம் 51.4 விழுக்காடு என்ற அளவுக்கு மிக உயர்ந்திருக்கிறது. தமிழ்நாட்டின் மாணவர் சேர்க்கை விகிதம் தேசிய அளவிலான சராசரியை விட 2 மடங்கு அதிகம் என்பது உயர்கல்வியில் தமிழ்நாடு நிகழ்த்தியிருக்கக்கூடிய சாதனை. அது மட்டுமல்ல, 17 மாணவர்களுக்கு ஒரு ஆசிரியர் என்ற விகிதத்தில் தமிழ்நாடு முன்னணி மாநிலமாக விளங்குகிறது. தமிழ்நாட்டில் 1553 கல்லூரிகள், 52 அரசு மற்றும் தனியார் பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள், 1096 தொழிற்கல்வி நிறுவனங்கள் உயர்கல்வி அளித்து தமிழ்நாட்டில் கல்வி வளர்ச்சிக்கு துணை நிற்கின்றன. தொழிற்கல்வியிலும் மருத்துவக் கல்லூரியிலும் மாணவர் சேர்க்கையில் 7.5 விழுக்காடு இடஒதுக்கீடு செய்து சாதாரண நிலையில் உள்ளவர்களும் சிறந்த நிலைக்கு உயர வழிவகுத்து கொடுத்திருக்கிறது தமிழ்நாடு அரசு. அதோடு தொழிற்கல்வி மற்றும் மருத்துவ படிப்பில் சேர நுழைவுத் தேர்வு கட்டாயம் என்பதை ஒழித்து கட்டி கிராமப்புற பிற்படுத்தப்பட்ட மாணவர்களுக்கு பெரும் அளவில் மேற்படிப்பில் இடம் கிடைக்க செய்தவர் முத்தமிழறிஞர் கலைஞர் அவர்கள். பெண்ணடிமைத்தனத்தை ஒழித்து பெண்கள் சமூக ரீதியாகவும் பொருளாதார ரீதியாகவும் விடுதலை பெற்றவர்களாக திகழ வேண்டும் என்பதே திராவிட இயக்க வெளிவந்த நமது கொள்கை. அந்த விடுதலையை அடைவதற்கு கல்வியே திறவுகோல். ஆகவே பெண் கல்வியிலும் தமிழ்நாடு அரசு பெண்களுக்கென்று தனி கல்லூரிகள், இருபாலர் கல்லூரிக்கு அனுமதி, பெண்களுக்கென்று தனி பல்கலைக்கழகம், இளநிலை, முதுநிலை மற்றும் முனைவர் படிப்பில் பெண்களுக்கு உதவித்தொகை, அகில இந்திய பணிகளுக்கு தேர்ச்சி பெற பயிற்சி தரும் மையங்கள், வேலைவாய்ப்பிற்கான கணினி பயிற்சி, முனைவர் ஆராய்ச்சி படிப்பிற்கான உதவித்தொகை போன்ற மாணவியர்களுக்கான சிறப்பு திட்டங்களை தமிழக அரசு செயல்படுத்தி பெண்ணுரிமைக்கு முன்னுரிமை தந்து நாட்டிற்கே முன்னோடி மாநிலமாக திகழ்கிறது. நான் ஆட்சி பொறுப்பேற்றவுடன் பல்வேறு திட்டங்களை, அறிவிப்புகளை 2021-22 ஆண்டுக்கான நிதிநிலை அறிக்கையில் வெளியிட்டிருந்தோம். அதில் இத்தனை ஆண்டுகளும் இல்லாத வகையில் உயர்கல்வித்துறைக்கு 5369 கோடி ரூபாய் நிதி ஒதுக்கி திட்டங்கள் நிறைவேற்றப்பட்டு வருகின்றன. மாநிலத்தில் உயர்கல்வி சென்றடையாத பகுதிகளுக்கும் அடுத்த 10 ஆண்டுகளில் அரசால் விரிவுபடுத்தப்பட உள்ளது. அதிக அளவிலான நிறுவனங்கள் தேசிய மதிப்பீடு மற்றும் தரச்சான்று குழுவின் தர நிலையை அடைவதற்கு அரசு நடவடிக்கை எடுத்து வருகிறது. தாய்மொழி கல்வியினை மேம்படுத்தும் பொருட்டு தொடக்கத்தில் 4 பொறியியல் கல்லூரிகளில் இளநிலை வகுப்புகள் தமிழில் நடப்பதற்கு அனுமதி அளிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. அத்தோடு தொழிற்கல்வியில் உள்ள பாடநூல்களை தமிழில் மொழிமாற்றம் செய்ய 20 கோடி ரூபாய் நிதி ஒதுக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. தற்போது பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் பெரும்பாலும் பட்டதாரிகளை உருவாக்குவதும் முனைவர் பட்டங்களை வழங்குவதும் தேசிய மற்றும் உலகளவில் தரவரிசை பெறுவதற்குமாகவும் பணியாற்றி வருகின்றன. ஆனாலும் கூட இந்திய உயர்கல்வியின் முக்கியமான குறிக்கோளான அனைவருக்கும் வேலை தரும் கல்வி வழங்குவதில் கூடுதல் கவனம் செலுத்த வேண்டிய மிகப்பெரிய கடமை உங்களுக்கு இருப்பதை நினைவுபடுத்த விரும்புகிறேன். திறன் சார்ந்த கல்வியும் பயிற்சியும் பாடத்திட்டங்களில் கட்டாயப்படுத்துதல் அவசியம். அதனால்தான் மார்ச் 1ஆம் தேதி அன்று நான் முதல்வன் திட்டத்தை மாணவ செல்வங்களுக்காக துவக்கி வைத்தேன். பல்கலைக்கழகத்தின் தரத்தையும் செயல்பாட்டையும் வடிவமைப்பதில் முக்கிய பங்காற்றுவோர் துணைவேந்தர்கள்தான். நீங்கள் அனைவரும் அறிவியல் பூர்வமான சிந்தனைகளை மாணவர்களும் வளர்த்தெடுக்கும் வகையில் உங்கள் பணியை மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். மேலும் கல்வி என்பது ஒத்திசைவிப்பு பட்டியலில் இருப்பதை வைத்து ஒன்றிய அரசு தனது அதிகாரத்தை பயன்படுத்தி பிற்போக்கு கருத்துக்களை பாடத்திட்டங்களில் புகுத்தும் போக்கும் கவலைக்குரியதாக உள்ளது. கல்வி முழுமையாக மாநில பட்டியலுக்கு மாற்றப்படுவதே இதற்கு சிறந்த தீர்வாக அமையும். மாநிலத்தில் உள்ள கல்விக் கொள்கையின் அடிப்படையில் பல்கலைக்கழகங்கள் செயல்பட வேண்டும் என்பதே இங்குள்ள மக்களின் விருப்பம். அதனை உணர்ந்து பல்கலைக்கழக துணைவேந்தர்கள் செயல்பட வேண்டும். இந்த மாபெரும் மாநாடு தன் நோக்கங்களில் வெற்றி பெறவும் அதன் மூலம் நமது நாட்டின் உயர்கல்வி மேன்மை பெற வேண்டும் எனவும் வாழ்த்துகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
மாண்புமிகு தமிழக முதல்வர் திரு மு.க. ஸ்டாலின் அவர்களின் உரைக்கு எங்களின் மனமார்ந்த நன்றி.
May I now request the Honorable Governor to release the special issue of AIU Journal entitled University News and the other set of AIU publications, namely Indian Higher Education Profile, AIU Awards and Schemes for Faculty Members and Students, and the Student Welfare Measure. I invite Dr. S. Ramadevi Pani, the editor, to join the release of the publications.
May I once again request the Honorable Governor to release the books on Industry 4.0 edited by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. P. Kaliraj and Professor Dr. T. Devi of Bharatiyar University. I invite Professor Dr. T. Devi, and I also request the Nodal Officer of AIU South Zone Vice Chancellor's Meet, Professor Dr. F.X. Lovlina, to join the book release.
Thank you, dignitaries. A leader with a profound vision of holistic rejuvenation. Now, we are extremely delighted to invite the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Thiru R.N. Ravi, to deliver the inaugural address.
Colonel Dr. G. Thiruvasagam, President, Association of Indian Universities, Professor Dr. P. Kaliraj, Vice Chancellor, Bharatiyar University, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, Professor Murugavel, Registrar of this host university, all the esteemed Vice Chancellors, distinguished educationists, faculty members, researchers, students, and all the distinguished, gracious ladies and gentlemen present here, அனைவருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். It gives me a great sense of delight to be in the midst of academic and intellectual leaders of this country. And I would like to thank Association of Indian Universities, its President, Colonel Dr. Thiruvasagam, for offering me this opportunity to be with you this morning. Professor Kaliraj has hosted, his university is hosting this, and I would like to thank the university staff and all those who have made it comfortable and possible for this meet to happen here. You are all distinguished people of eminence in your own field. You have accomplished in your respective domains a big name, big reputation, and you don't need to be told by anyone, especially a person like me, what to do. But I feel that education, higher education, is not, it doesn't exist in silo. It is not a subject which is a standalone. It is a part of the national whole. And so, I would like to urge you all to be conscious of the context in which we discuss, we talk, and we work towards reforming, transforming higher education. This is for national good. Now, what is this context? To put it briefly, since it is for the national good, what is our vision of nation? What is our vision of, our idea of India? And having had the clarity on the vision of the nation, the vision of India, the idea of India, the next is, what is our vision for the nation? Where we would like this nation, this India, to be in coming years. So with this context, if we work on and come up with ideas and action plans to take this nation with this vision to that destination, I think that would be far more useful. As a Vice Chancellors, you are shaping the career, the life of several thousand students. Some of the universities have more than 100,000 students. While shaping their career, you are also shaping the destiny of this nation. Youth is our future. So you have a great responsibility. And so it's very important that there must be clarity of the context. Now the question comes, what is the need for coming up with this context issue at this point of time? It is important because for a very long time, over 6.5 decades, we kept looking at India from a perspective of not Indian, but for colonial perspective. What is India? Indians never called India before the foreigners came. When they came, those who came from outside, they called it India. For them it was a geography, a diverse geography, inhabited by diverse set of people belonging to different religion, different cultures, different languages. And they also created a theory of race, so it is inhabited by people of different races. So it was a diverse land inhabited by diverse set of people. And with this vision, we kept working on this country, how to take it forward. And the medium was, we started 5-year plan. 5-year plan because the governments, a political governments, in normal course, its life is 5 years. So when the government comes, hurriedly works out a plan. 1 year goes into formulating the plans, and then start implementing it. And while framing the plan, according to at that point of time, government's priorities and availability of resources, you set this much for education, this much for health, this much for poverty alleviation, this much for agriculture, this much for industry. Next 3 years, implementation happens in some way. By the time 4th year comes, again, political imperatives, compulsions, and government gets into the populist mode, and period of freebies start. Again, next government comes, again the same exercise begins, and we have seen what it has resulted in. Even after 6.5 decades, India was home to the largest number of poor, the sick, the illiterate. Internally, we were divided, social tensions. Externally, never taken seriously, or rather, seldom taken seriously. Now, this vision of India as a geography inhabiting diverse set of people, and its vision and to develop it in this 5-year plan format, it led to a situation which is certainly unenviable. Countries, those who were far behind, they left us far behind. It not only created all these problems, poverty, sickness, lack of sanitations, it also created regional imbalances. Because since it was a home to diverse set of people, people would live different parts would develop according to their own genius. And so, you see the divide, south and north, west and east. We see south relatively better developed than the north, west of India relatively better developed than the east. And even within this relatively developed region, there were pockets of poverty, deprivation. Now, this model, this paradigm of looking at India and taking it forward has created so much of a problem for us. In 2014, the whole paradigm changed. After the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, came, the vision of India, the idea of India changed. We look at India not as a geography, a diverse geography with diverse set of people inhabiting this land. It is one living entity, one organic unit. And this India, this Bharat, which people of India called it, was not born in 1947. It organically evolved several thousand years ago. We find its reference in our ancient text. Several thousand years ago, when our rishis said, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadrasyaiva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharati yatra santati. North of ocean and south of ice-capped Himalayas is the land Bharat, and its children are Bharatis. This Bharat, which finds mention in our Sangam literature, where holy Himalayas and sacred Ganga, sacred city of Mathura, Ujjain, they find abundant reference, unity of Bharat. It was the Bharat which Bankim Chandra said, praise Bande Mataram, Mother, Mother India. It's not a geography, it is a living entity. It was this Bharat which Mahakavi Bhartiyar, in whose honor this university is there and to commemorate, and we are standing in the auditorium and talking. Bhartiyar, when he said, Bharat Mata, Seppu Modi Padnettudiyal, Enil, Chintanai, Ondrudiyal. Bharat Mata speaks 18 languages but thinks one. This Bharat, this idea of Bharat, is the idea or the vision of Bharat. It is living entity. And those who talk about federalism and call it the union of states, they should realize that this is not a contractual union. This is not an union like United States of America, where disparate and diverse set of people came together through a contract. This union is organic union. It is union like various parts of our body. Our hands and legs are not similar. Our eyes and mouths are not similar. They have different functions, different shapes, different dynamic, yet none exist beyond the body. They exist only as a part of the body. And when the Article 1 of the Indian Constitution talks about Union of India, before it says India, that is Bharat, is Union of States. So Bharat has not grown out of a contract, has not grown out of the Constitution of India. Bharat has emerged organically several thousand years ago through a process of organic fusion. It is the Bharat where people from either Kashmir or Kanyakumari or Kamrup or Kutch, whenever we do our regular time to time rituals, pujas, birth, death, bhumi pujan, housewarming, or any auspicious occasion when we do, and when we invoke the Panchabhuta, Bharat is there. When we worship the land, bhumi pujan, the land is, when we recite the mantra, land is part of Bharat Khand, Bharat. When we worship water, that water, invocation says it's the water of all the rivers of India. Ganga cha Jamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jale yasmin samnidhim kuru. Sindhu, Indus River in Ladakh, and Kaveri here. Let all the waters of all the rivers come and be here. It is this Bharat that is the true spirit and identity of Bharat. And when in 2014, with this idea of Bharat, the work began, the policies were rolled out. They were not discriminatory, these were not region specific, these were not community specific. Poverty alleviation. We have all been talking about poverty right from independence. And 6.5 decades later, we remain hosting the largest number of poor people in this country. Why was it not mitigated or removed? This poverty alleviation measures, the first thing that began was how to transfer the benefit to the people directly. We had a prime minister in 1980s, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, who said, publicly he said, That 1 rupee meant for the poor, for the people, for the beneficiary, only he gets or she gets only 15 paise. 85 paise is eaten out. So, Jan Dhan Yojana. Bank accounts, more than 400 million bank accounts were opened. And today, the money goes directly to the beneficiary, direct benefit transfer. There is no middleman. All those people, those who were benefiting, eating the money in between, that business is gone. It goes directly. To any scheme meant for the poor, for the marginalized, it now reaches them directly. In health, we know that health is the major expenditure. And it hits the poor more because of their lifestyle, their conditions in which they live. So Ayushman Bharat, up to 5 lakhs rupees. People living in any part of the country and so long as is an Indian citizen, gets the benefit of 5 lakhs rupees treatment for family per year. Doesn't have to bother, he has just to have a card. Direct. Marginal small farmers. We know hundreds of millions of farmers, direct benefit transfer. It doesn't discriminate which estate, the farmer is of which estate or which area or which community. To all. It was all inclusive measures that began with this idea of Bharat, that in this living body, one part cannot be left, cannot be ignored. We cannot even afford to let our, let's say, little finger perish. Howsoever small a part it may be, it's a part of the body and it is an important part. Housing. Millions and millions of houses were built. Direct transfer to the poor person. All that this person has to do is to have a piece of land, a small piece of land. Money comes in installment, GPS located, a stage of construction, proper monitoring, money is released. Sanitation. In 2014, we had the dubious distinction of 60% of Indians going for open defecation. And when, on the 2nd of October 2014, Prime Minister took the brooms, people thought, what is this? Swachhata, cleaning, toilet. It was at that point of time, it is a cultural issue. Whatever you do, people are prone to go outside and do in the open. But by 2019 October, India overcame that embarrassment and it became open defecation free. It was not a 5-year plan. It was a vision. India has to be clean, every house has to have a toilet, every institution has to have toilets. And we did it. People of India did it. And this, when it comes to the gender equity, even it comes to with respect to toilet, who suffers the worst? It is the woman. And not only that, we had a dubious distinction again of very unfortunate thing of gender inequality. Male-female ratio. Movement launched, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Save the daughter, educate the daughters. And where are we today? 2021 census is yet to complete and record come. But the sample survey data shows that now this disparity, gender disparity is gone. Women are coming forward. Our girls, our daughters are coming forward. They are flying fighter bombs. All the barriers have been broken. The last was the defense. Our mother and sisters, cooking gas, LPG cylinder to every house, no discrimination. Because we cannot discriminate in the part of the body. Free cylinders. Okay, may not be free all the time, but yes, it is accessible, made available. Potable water to every house. Har Ghar Nal Se Jal Yojana. Every house to have a potable drinking water. It must. It is a successful experiment. It is moving very fast. Electricity to every house. You can keep counting. All these measures taken by the Prime Minister is inclusive. It is because our vision of India, our idea of India is different from what it was for nearly 6.5 decades. And why I insist here today, because most all of us have grown up in that culture of looking at India from that perspective. All that I urge is to be conscious of this context. Even for the regional disparities within the state, every state, even in the progressive state, you have a number of areas, a number of districts which are quite backward. The scheme of aspirational district came. Even in Tamil Nadu, we have some districts which are way behind. No disparity, no imbalance in growth, in development is acceptable. Friends, India is awake and rising. We are taken far more seriously today, even by the external community. And we are proving it. Two major crises that the world is facing today. One is the climate. Climate crisis. We are seeing the curtain raisers. Time to time. Disasters happening. And the advanced countries who are far more responsible for much of the carbon emission and the destruction of the climate, they are unwilling to come forward. But what did India did? Indian leadership took a very positive, determined step forward. In 2016, India set up a goal of 100 gigawatt of renewable clean energy by 2025. At the time, people thought it was unachievable. But in September 2021, we achieved it. We crossed the target. More than 50 gigawatt of that is solar energy. International Solar Alliance, of which 121 countries are members today, started by India. The decision that by 2030 we will have 500 gigawatt of clean energy, renewable energy, is something which is today, with the confidence we can say that it will be achieved long before the stipulated target date. The proclamation of the Prime Minister that by 2070 we will be carbon free, it is not difficult to achieve because India is rising with confidence. There is a positive temper in the air. the transformation, the holistic transformation happening all across, all walks of life is now discernible. This transformation is not being brought about by the government of India. This again is a fundamental difference between the earlier model and the present model. In the earlier model, it was the government which was the driver of change. Government to do, my baap. No. It is the people of India who will make it happen. The trust and faith in the youth of India. And look at where we are. In 2014, India had hardly 400 startups. In 2021, thanks to our young boys and girls, young entrepreneurs, we crossed 10,000 startups. 10,000. We are now ranked as number 3 internationally in a startup. And more than 50 of them are unicorn. And you know what unicorn is. Over $1 billion worth a startup. This is happening not by the government. It is happening by our people. Have a trust in the people. Nation is much larger than the government. Much larger than the state. And that's why the latest slogan given by the Prime Minister to our youth is to compete and conquer. To compete, our boys and girls are second to none. Give them a spirit, that confidence. And when we talk about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and when we talk about the ranking, we should bear in mind that first of all, this Sustainable Development Goal, which UN General Assembly came only much later, we started long before in 2014 itself. And we need to not go by the ranking given by others, we have to go by ourselves. We have to see that we reach the top. Small countries could be like a colony of a metropolitan city of our country. We have to think and come up with ideas and action plans which takes this whole country forward. I was telling about the 2 challenges which the world is facing. One is the climate, in which India has taken up and shown the leadership. And second is this pandemic, global pandemic. When the global pandemic hit the world, there was a thinking at that point of time that, look, I think this is a lesson for the humanity, and the world around will come forward with compassion. At least the advanced countries would do that. But look what happened. The moment they discovered vaccine, the vaccine nationalism began. And they all started looking at it as an opportunity of making money. Cost of vaccines. It was this country that, and it's our scientists, our technologists, our laboratory, workers, technicians. In record time, they came up with vaccine. And we, under Vaccine Matri, we started giving vaccine to over 100 countries in the world. Because our idea of Bharat is not an idea which is confined to Bharat, confined to India. It is, we take Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we take humanity, the entire world as a family. It is not a political statement. Somebody says it is an adis. It is not an adis. It is our sanskar. It is not something that a statement is made. The fact that we believe that Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya is there, has been in our sanskar, in our blood, in our thinking, in our psyche for several thousand years. And so when pandemic happened, and our thanks to our scientists that we got this vaccine, and our industries who manufactured it, we had our own problems. But while facing our problems, meeting our needs, we also reached out. We shared that. Many people thought, why is it that? Why are you exporting the, why are you sending the vaccine to outside world? It was not an export, by the way. It was given free. Because we believe that this is what defines India. A compassionate India, which takes care of the world at large. We did it. So in two major world challenges, emergence of India as the leader, its fine prints are all obvious now. It's no longer fine prints, it is visible. Now our target is, our vision for India is 2047. The next 25 years, by the time we will be celebrating 100 years of independence, where the India would be. We would like India to be the world leader. The world leader for the benefit of the world, for saving the climate, for saving the humanity. And now, I would urge the Vice Chancellors, the intellectual and academic elites, to think on what kind of India I would like in 2047 and what all needs to be done and what are the milestones, where we will be in 2025, whether it will be 2030, where 2035, so that by 2047 we are reaching where we must reach. That's our challenge, and a challenge is always an opportunity. Friends, university is essentially a place where, broadly we can say, it is a place of knowledge dissemination and knowledge creation. Our focus has to be dissemination of useful knowledge. Our youths, those who come out of universities, the colleges, they must be confident enough to take on the world, not the one who goes with a begging with a certificate for a job. How do we do that? Creation of knowledge has to be knowledge which are useful. I have seen in Tamil Nadu state universities in last 20 years, we have 30,000 PhDs. I had the privilege being the chancellor getting the details. 30,000 PhDs, I'm talking about, the humanities. Some of them are really very good. I felt so. Useful to the society, useful to the country, useful to the knowledge itself. But one has a doubt whether quite a bulk of it, was it for the sake of it? PhDs doing around great personalities just to, it happened to be politically correct. Somebody is doing PhDs. So many people, so many scholars have done PhDs on life of an individual. And there was a great leader, could be fine. But what do we gain out of doing hundreds and hundreds of researches on that? It has to be, the knowledge creation has to be useful to the society, useful to the country. So the context is all the reformation or transformation in the higher education institution is keeping at the center the good of the nation. I am sure in the next 2 days, we will do serious deliberations. A lot of good will come out of this. Good ideas and actions plans, practical actions plans will come out of this churning. I wish you all the very best. I once again thank you all for the patient listening and wish you all the best. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, His Excellency, for the thoughtful rendering of the India's education and the cultural diversity. Indeed, we reaffirm you that we consciously use the resources for the effective knowledge dissemination and the nation's growth in all the relevant aspects. Thank you once again.
May I now request Dr. K. Murugavel, respected Registrar of Bharatiyar University, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Most Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu and Chancellor of Universities in Tamil Nadu, Sri R.N. Ravi, Most Honorable Chief Minister through M.K. Stalin, Most Respected President of Association of Indian Universities, Professor Dr. G. Thiruvasagam, Most revered Professor P. Kaliraj, Vice Chancellor of this dynamic, vibrant, and proactive university, Most revered Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General of AAU, distinguished Vice Chancellors of South Zone, Secretaries and Principals of affiliated colleges, invitees, syndicate and senate members of our university, nodal officer of this meet, Dr. Lavlina, faculty members, officers, non-teaching staff, scholars and students, and ever supporting press and media, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks on this historical day of our university. Our most honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu and Chancellor of our university has to be wholeheartedly thanked for his gracing presence and for his most dynamic and contemplated speech. Revered Chancellor, sir, while thanking you once again, we assure you that we will strive to realize your goals set by you for the betterment of higher education, not only in the state, but in the entire nation, sir. With immeasurable gratitude and happiness to wholeheartedly thank our most honorable Chief Minister, through M.K. Stalin, for his lucid and thought-provoking speech. This August gathering is very fortunate to have our Honorable Chief Minister's inspiring speech. Language experts have to coin new words to suitably explain and describe the dynamism, leadership, and fatherly guidance of our most honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor D.P. Kaliraj. Sleepless nights, strenuous days, and meticulous planning with clinical precision for organizing this meet have yielded great success and joy, which we can easily witness now. This university has grown to possess top ranking of the national and global rankings due to non-stop motivation and filling with the bond with the application-oriented research outputs. Revered sir, I heartily thank you for your role model leadership and for igniting our minds to go beyond the targets. Thrill of joys and basket full of happiness surges in me to thank our President of Association of Indian Universities, Colonel G. Thiruvasagam, and former Vice Chancellor of our own university, Present Vice Chancellor Amit University, Chennai, for his presidential address, which was pregnant with futuristic ideas to uplift the higher education scenario in India. I have to utilize this opportunity to thank him for elevating this university academically and financially so strong during his tenure as Vice Chancellor of this great university. I am greatly indebted to Dr. Mr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General of AAU, for her unconditional support and vibrant speech. This event becomes a meaningful and powerful only because of active participation of Vice Chancellor of South Zone. I am sure these 2 days will be ever remembered by you because of superior deliberations and benchmark of hospitality of Kongu region. Without support of members of the syndicate and Senate, no program can have achieved desired success. This event is yet another example of the same. I record my gratitude to all the members of the syndicate and Senate. I have to recognize and thank the nodal officer of this meet, Dr. Lovelina Littleflower, for planning and executing this meet in the most successful manner. Her way of coordinating, gathering like-minded people, and identifying the right person for every work deserves a special mention and appreciation. I thank all the secretaries and principals of affiliated colleges, heads of the departments, faculty members, officers of the university, non-teaching staff, scholars and students for their unstinted support and hard work for this meet. I thank one and all for making these 2 days as a historical one in the annals of our university. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you.
We thank our registrar for delivering the vote of thanks.
We are at the closure of the inaugural session. May I now kindly request all of you to stand up for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जाहे तब शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is leaving the auditorium. Our distinguished guests, that is the Vice Chancellors of this meet and Office Bearers of Association of Indian Universities, are requested to move to the front of the auditorium for a group photo session. All the other attendees are requested to remain seated while the guests move out. Thank you for your cooperation. I repeat, all the Vice Chancellors and AAU office bearers are requested to move to the front of the auditorium for a group photo session, whereas all the other attendees are requested to remain seated while the guests moving out. Thank you.
Dear delegates and attendees, His Excellency is leaving the auditorium. Our distinguished guests, Vice Chancellors and Office Bearers of AIU are requested to move to the front of the auditorium for a group photo session. All the other attendees are requested to remain seated while the guests move out. Thank you for your coordination.
Other than the Vice Chancellors and AAU office bearers, all the other attendees are remain seated while the guests are moving out.
Thank you all the revered dignitaries for your kind support for the successful conduct of the first session. We continue to anticipate it throughout the event. As we are dispersing for the tea break, we request all the Honorable Vice Chancellors to join the group photograph. The volunteers will monitor you further, and we request all the volunteers to accompany the Vice Chancellors to the photograph session. Let's resume the next session after the tea break.
To rejuvenate your neuronal cells, tea and refreshments are arranged at various places. For delegate, you can find a stall near in front of the auditorium, whereas for faculty members, you can find the stalls left side of the auditorium. For scholars and students, those who can find the tea and refreshment arranged near BSMED. I repeat, for delegates, the tea and refreshment is arranged in front of the auditorium. For faculty members, they can find the stall left side of the auditorium, whereas the scholars and students, the refreshments are arranged near BSMED. Thank you.
Welcome everybody. Welcome back. I request everyone to take your seats. I request Honorable President AIU Professor Tiruvasagam sir to the dais. Sir. Yes. Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Agarwal, who will be joining online in this session. This is Apex Body Interaction session. In this session, the heads of Apex Body will present the new initiatives taken by them, and the Vice Chancellors who are present here resolve their queries by asking questions to them. And now, may I request Honorable President Tiruvasagam sir to initiate the session. Sir Tiruvasagam sir, I request you to initiate the session. Thank you.
Is it audible? Good afternoon to every one of you. I should convey my sincere thanks to every one of you, especially Vice Chancellors of various universities, for your presence and participation during the inaugural session. It went on well. I should thank Professor Kaliraj, the Vice Chancellor of the esteemed university, and his colleagues who have organized the program of inauguration in a fascinating manner. Thank you very much, sir. Now the second session starts. This session is supposed to be presided over by Dr. Surandan Das, the Vice President of the Association of Indian University. Due to some unavoidable reasons, he is not able to be available today. In the absence of Vice President, as a President, I am just taking the responsibility of presiding over this session. And I'm not going to speak much. I spoke elaborately during the inauguration. We were inviting Dr. Pankaj Mittal and Dr. Rajiv Kumar. He is the member secretary of AICT as well, who has made his presence physically. That's more important. We have other speakers as introduced by Dr. Rama Devi. They will be coming virtually as well. And the co-chair is Dr. Pankaj Mittal, our Secretary General. Before starting this session, I would like to request Vice Chancellors especially. There are a lot of objectives as far as AIU is concerned. The major objective is, of course, to make many plans and implement it in the area of academic, research, globalization, skill development, youth development, and sports. But equally, there is one more objective, is to act as a representative organization for all the member universities. That's the most important. As Vice Chancellors, we don't have any other forum to represent except AIU. Very well, our AICT member secretary can understand. We are not the trade union people. Our association is not a big movement as well, but at the same time, we don't have sufficient space and avenue to represent it. Whenever we place our request individually to the apex bodies, we find it a lot of delay in getting the response. And sometimes we don't have an opportunity to convey our difficulties in person as well, because they are dealing with hundreds and thousands of universities. It's not easy for them to tackle one by one. By keeping all these things, to overtake all these bottlenecks, we conduct this kind of interaction with the apex body office bearers. So now you can be very frank. Yeah, our speakers will make a presentation. After that, it is my appeal to all the Vice Chancellors. Unless we speak, unless we bring forth all our issues in the forum like this, we cannot achieve many things as well. Please do concentrate, put your questions without any hesitation. And Sir Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Member Secretary, is open to us, especially to the Vice Chancellors. Likewise, Dr. Ponmudi Raj is coming. He is the advisor of the NAC as well. He is also like that. Please make use of this opportunity. With these words, I am requesting our co-chairman of the session, Dr. Pankaj Mittal. And one more thing, as she announced in the morning, we have a business session tomorrow, sir. It is going to be 1 hour. No discussion about STG, no discussion about any other policy, except what you want from AAU or how you can participate in AAU, what AAU can do better in future as well. So these are all the agenda for tomorrow's business session. Please do some homework when you are going to stay in the hotel and come with a lot of suggestions and questions tomorrow. I want to see that participative, vibrant, purposeful and useful as well. Now I am requesting our Secretary General, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, please.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to all of you. Some days back, somebody was asking me what is the difference between UGC and AIU. I said UGC is a regulator and AIU is a friend of the universities. So we are a friend of yours. So as a friend, it is also our duty to bring the regulators to you. And many times, many of the vice chancellors, they have told us that if they want to meet the regulators, if they have some queries, so they are not able to find a person to whom they can address these queries. So what we have decided that in every conference of AIU, we have a session specially crafted for you, in which the apex regulatory body heads or the officers, they come here, they talk to you, they also understand what are your needs, you also understand what new is happening in these organizations. And if you have any query of any sort, or if you want to give any suggestion to any of these apex bodies, you are welcome to do here. So we'll be having today 3 presentations. First from Dr. R.C. Agarwal, he is DDG Education in ICAR. Second from Dr. Rajiv Kumar, who is physically present here. He is Member Secretary AICT. And third from NAC, so Advisor NAC will be giving a presentation on what new is happening in the accreditation and rating. Similarly, AICT will be telling what new is happening. I mean, this session is not for SDGs. This session is basically to apprise you of what is happening in the higher education space at the level of the regulatory bodies. And if you want to give your suggestions, if you want to talk to them, so that session is specially crafted for all of you. So with this, I will be requesting the first speaker, Dr. R.C. Agarwal, who is joining us online, to give you a presentation on the activities of Indian Council of Agricultural Research and how they are implementing the national education policy and what are the expectations from the Vice Chancellors. And if you have something to ask from him, he'll be telling. But in addition to this, I'll also inform you that AIU has signed an MOU with ICAR. And that MOU is that because many of the times we feel that the students in the regular universities, they don't know about the agriculture practice, how the food on their plate, from where the food on their plate is coming from. So we have engaged a session, sort of an arrangement with the ICAR in which the students from the regular universities can go to agricultural universities, stay there for a week or so and understand their agricultural practices. Similarly, students from agricultural universities will come to our universities, and we are seeing a very good response. Many universities have approached us that, yes, they want to participate in the program. If any of you still want to participate, do write to us. We'll be very happy to have you on board. So with this, may I request Dr. R.C. Agarwal to kindly give his address. Dr. R.C. Agarwal is there? Dr. R.C. Agarwal is in or not? Dr. Agarwal? Lovelina? He has joined? Okay, wait. Dr. Agarwal is joining. Actually, we got late and I think he was to go somewhere, so he will be joining from the car, I suppose. Or otherwise, if NAC is there, we can start with the NAC also. Okay, so let us start with the NAC. So, Ponduraj, advisor NAC.
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj Mittal. I'll just share my screen. So am I audible? Can I go ahead? Vice Chancellors and my colleague presenters along with me. I'll try to stick on to time. I have a presentation on the NAC process and what is reason.
Yeah, okay, you continue with this itself, sir. Don't go to the full screen.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah,
you. Sorry,
sure.
very technical glitch. As I told you about the student support and progression, we are just measuring or we are enhancing, we are enunciating the data about how many children are going for higher studies as well as for research as well as for entrepreneurship and placements. And what are the support services the university gives. And the leadership I talked about and the different, participative management and leadership and governance and the institutional values and best practices. This is everybody, most of you are aware of the various manuals we have. So you may be aware, I was talking about in the introduction part, what are the new things NAC is planning, NAC is initiated. Now, I will talk about the new things. Very important, people are aware with the different manuals we have. We have for open universities one manual, dual board universities one manual, all the general universities one manual, all the health science universities one manual, Sanskrit universities one manual, Sanskrit, we have dual board universities, and we have a UG college, PG college, autonomous universities. The major higher education institutions are affiliated at consulate colleges, being the number of ISA, UGC and AU as well as from the ministry. You know the number game, the huge number. So with this, the new initiatives taken by NAC, it is called Provisional Accreditation for Colleges. Very important, ladies and gentlemen, we want to accredit all the colleges in India within a very, very short span of time. We are running into, tens of thousands and thousands of colleges. So
Sir,
this is
excuse me.
what...
Sir, I think your slide has not moved yet.
So I have pushed it to you also. I have pushed it.
You don't go to the slideshow. Be there in the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
PowerPoint only.
Yes.
I think now the screen share has been stopped. You please share again.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's starting. You go, yeah, now the slides are visible, sir. You don't go to the slideshow. Just you continue with this. Okay, sir.
Thank you, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, to continue with this provisional accreditation, NAC is planning to accredit with all the support of UGC and Ministry of Education to complete the process of assessment accreditation for all colleges in India in a very, very short span of time. It is a miniature version of full accreditation. That means what is the eligibility and what is the institutional basic information, what are the quantitative questions and qualitative questions. You may be aware we have 107 questions over a period of time, continuously based on feedback, stakeholders' feedback. We have been getting the feedback and deleting, merging the matrices and reconsidering the matrices, the questions and the DBB data template based on the feedback. Now this miniature version is based on the stakeholders' feedback from the ministry, from UGC, from all stakeholders, including AIU. We have been taking into consideration the feedback, and this is the miniature version of 25 questions. Just 25 questions for accreditation of all colleges. Soon we will be launching for universities also. Provisional accreditation for universities. so that the entire country, all the colleges and universities get accredited and comes under the fold of NAC. This is a small miniature version without compromising on quality. This is equivalent to any accreditation by NAC, except for anything related to for the gazette and the rules and regulations which is connected with grading and CGP. Otherwise, for all technical purposes, this provisional accreditation is comparable with full accreditation. Very important. They will be coming for 2 years. The eligibility is that the accreditation validity is 2 years. Again, it will be they can come again for 2 years. That means 4 years you will get provisional accreditation. A college which is 1 year old can apply for provisional accreditation. We need only 1 year old. People who are accredited for first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle, if their accreditation period is over and they wanted to get some more time to go for fifth cycle or fourth cycle or third cycle, they can come for provisional accreditation so that they keep the accreditation impact like a license renewal and a passport renewal. Okay, now these are the conditions. It is college can opt only for 2 consecutive times. The assessment accreditation fee is only 10,000 rupees. And the outcome is binary in nature as per the National Education Policy 2020. It is accredited or not accredited. We say provisionally accredited or not accredited, peer team report and a certificate of accreditation, which we call provisional accreditation. Now, once a college is, even in this 25 questions, if people do not get accredited provisionally, they can come improving themselves within 6 months' time. The peer team visit is virtual. It is online peer team visit. It's only virtual. And there will be a 2-member committee visiting the 2-member committee. One university professor and one principal of a college will be visiting the college. It's a principal of a college. And there's a public disclosure policy of the Government of India as with regard to the NEP 2020. Most of the information will be on the public domain, where we can catch, and even NAC will put on the public domain this practices in NAC from the beginning. And no modifications in the pro forma once they submit. Practice similar to graded accreditation for any benefits and claims. Now, there is an independent grievance redressal in ombudsman. If any appeals are there, people are not happy with whatever it is, they can come to an independent ombudsman. The evaluation is 0, 1 and 2. Marks are given as 0, 1 and 2 for 10 questions and the benchmarks are declared. It's public, it's open. Colleges and universities will know what are the benchmarks and how to improve and what score they are getting. Each college should get 20 out of 50. Because there are 25 questions, each carry 2 marks or 2 scores, what we call. This is an online pro forma. It is a miniature version of the full accreditation and no fee adjustment is possible. There are 3 parts I will quickly run through. There are 20 basic information we ask. Is an information, not for evaluation. Information about the IRC ID, All India Survey on Higher Education ID is mandatory. College name, date of establishment, college whether it has own building or it is in a rented building. Whether the college has a website and an institutional link we want, the principal's name, and we want the head of the institutions as contact details, IQAC coordinator, the teacher in charge, and we want the location of the college, urban, semi-urban, rural, we want hilly area, tribal area, type of, ask the census of India, whether one academic year is completed, what is the college type, whether it's a day college, evening college or a night college, whether it is a boys college, girls college, co-educational college, including transgender. Management, by management, it's a government college, private. Was a private, whether it's an aided or unaided. Now, status we want whether it's an affiliated college or an autonomous college or a standalone institution. We want to know the university jurisdiction of that particular college. We want to know whether it's a medical, whether it's a statutory regulatory professional councils, whether it's a medical college, whether it's a nursing college, whether it's an engineering college. We would like to know whether SRA is applicable. And whether if it's a standalone institutions, association of Indian universities, equivalence whether it's applicable. And number of teachers with PhDs we ask, number of programs they offer, whether BCom only 1 or BA, BSc, BCom 3 programs. And the list of mandatory committees by the government, by the university. And we want whether the management information system is in place. We want to know whether the college offers CBCS, provided the university allows them, and we just take an undertaking. The questions for evaluation is very, very simple. We ask 0, 1, 2, they have to pick, that's all, and click. And they will know the marks. Benchmarks are open. It's publicly disclosed. It is declared. So the college will know whether they are accredited or not, whether they'll get accreditation or not. This is the percentage of teachers sanctioned are required post for the full-time teachers. Sanction means government aided. Even the self-financing colleges required this fixed by the university and state government regarding the programs. So this is the score 0, 1 and 2 range. Student-teacher ratio. You get 2 marks if the total number of teachers is that child-student ratio is less than 30:1. You get 0 marks if it is 50:1. Quantitative questions again. The third question is percentage of students undertaking project work, field work, internship, dissertation, skill-based learning. These criteria and questions which is already existing and combined together, merge plus feedback plus NEP, keeping NEP in mind. And next is the pass percentage of students. Minimum should be greater. If it is less than 40, you don't get 40 to 50%, you get 1 score. The fifth question is number of research papers per book chapters, conference proceedings, patents published. So it is we talk very important about the publication, about the awards, about the business transfer. We are talking about published and conference proceedings. We talk about chapters, book chapters, research papers. It should be greater than 10. For the last 1 year data, last 1 year data. You get 10 marks for all the teachers put together. Very important. Student computer ratio. At least for 1 computer for 30 students, you get 2 marks. And percentage of classrooms and seminar halls with ICT facilities, if it is 20%, more than 20%, you get 2 marks. Your internet connectivity, Wi-Fi facility, you get greater than 20 Mbps, you will get 2 marks. Minimum requirements for the website too. And the last but one question is number of curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular, cultural, sports programs, activities organized by the college. If it is greater than 10 for the last 1 year, you will get each department 2 or 3, NSS, NCC, yoga, different other non-governmental bodies along with collaboration if you have organized. The last question is quantitative is number of faculty development programs or professional development programs and administrative training programs, orientation and capacity building. Minimum greater than 4 programs you get 2 marks. So it is out of 20 marks and the remaining 15 questions are qualitative questions. 15 questions I'll just rush through. I'll catch the point rather than reading the full questions. After admission of students, how do you differentiate the slow learners and higher level of learners, advanced learners? What are the measures you take? You have to write 100 to 300 words. No graphs, no tabular form and things. Write 3 paragraphs of qualitative evaluation, self-evaluation. What are the student-centric participative learning pedagogy involved in your teaching learning? Experiential learning, problem solving, very important, NEP specific. ICT enabled tools, the effective teaching learning, third question. On the qualitative question, 4 extension activities, the immediate neighborhood, NSS, NCC, all other activities, including the community engagement, how do you go village adoption? What is the impact the students are having and the teachers and the institution is having? The fifth question about the infrastructure facilities for teaching, learning, and sports, cultural, co-curricular, yoga, games. Sixth question about your library facilities. Seventh question, you talk about your academic administrative pursuits with your vision and mission. And the eighth, you ask about leadership and the decentralization of management. A rural, government, tribal college, how participatory management with different committees of teachers and students and alumni and parents together, how do you develop? This is a specific question for NEP or the education policy or institutional development plan, each college for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. The plan we have and the strategy to implement, very important, including short-term goals fixed by the college. 10th is very important one, the internal quality assurance system, IQAC in each college. 11th, we talk about again the skill-specific capacity building, communication skills, soft skills, language skills, yoga skills, physical fitness, ICT computing, and is there a grievance redressal mechanism for the student, for teachers, for non-teaching staff? Where do the students go? Where do the management, where do the principal, where do the different committees go for grievances, including internal complaints committee, sexual harassment cell and ragging cases? The 13th question we asked about the constitutional obligations. One question, people say we are in the northeast, we are in far-flung area of Uttarakhand or Jammu and Kashmir or Ladakh or Rajasthan or Bihar, Chhattisgarh or Tamil Nadu or wherever it is, among many states. What is your specific institutional area? What is distinctive? What is your priority? What is your thrust? It is rather telling what is the difficulty in your areas. We wanted to capture the thrust, the distinct uniqueness of that. The last one, why do you want professional accreditation? Why justify professional accreditation? Because full accreditation is available. So we wanted to reach out to all the accreditations. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Pankaj.
Thank you, Dr. Konduraj. You have very well explained how the new concept of provisional accreditation. Till now, accreditation was there for after 5 years of standing of an institution, but a new concept has come in which, after 1 year of the establishment, provisional accreditation can be given, and he has given the methodology, what all questions will be there. Right now, it has been started for the colleges. Very soon, it will be started for the universities as well. So thank you, Dr. Konduraj. Please be here because there will be questions at the end. So please be here for asking the questions. Thank you very much. Now may I request Dr. R.C. Agarwal, who is DDG Education in ICAR, to come next and give his presentation on what is happening in ICAR and agricultural universities in implementing NEP or any new initiative which they have taken at ICAR. Dr. R.C. Agarwal, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols.
I think he's sitting in the car and doing it for you. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal.
You can it. Hello.
Please go ahead. You are visible, your presentation is visible, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. So thank you very much for giving ICR this opportunity to present the latest progress and what is our plans to do with for this agricultural higher education in the country. For this, let me just refresh your memories. Tell that we presently are 754 agricultural universities, where we have 95 level PG subjects, 80 doctoral programs, 11 UG level programs. Out of this state agricultural universities, we also have the veterinary universities, horticultural universities, physics. Now, let me, as you know, the salient feature of agricultural education at UG level is declared this as a professional degree. Just for the practical exposure, and that includes 6 months for the rural attachment, then it's industry attachment, then it's a attachment to the experiential learning units, which we have currently around 900 in all the universities. 485 funded by ICAR, but rest by the universities themselves, state governments. And one of the most popular among the students is the Zabe program, where we connect all the students for a period of 6 months to the rural areas. So that's really something good. The interesting thing is that in the UG curriculum, we have already included the topics of national importance, like the precision farming, protected cultivation, dryland horticulture. And if you can recall, recently our Honorable Prime Minister has given the agenda for natural farming, for the modern agriculture, for organic farming. So all those topics we have included, except the natural farming, for which we are developing the course program. And ICT, we are giving due importance, and we have made it as a compulsory course in all the degree programs. And we have biotech, sericulture, food nutrition, many things. So what I'm trying to say is that we have sufficient infrastructure with our universities, with the support of ICR, where students are given all kind of practical exposure. Lastly, I want to mention and we are now trying to see that how the cross enrollment ratio can be increased, and how for that we have relaxed the rigidness requirement, how the compliance with the academic bank of credit can be done, and many more new initiatives we have taken for this. Even how to convert our university into multidisciplinary. Like example of Indian Agricultural Research Institute, which is the premier institute of ICR as a deemed university. So in IARI, how we are going to start a program also this year. We try to improve institutes for providing the PG and PhD programs. So many things we are doing so that in true sense we become multidisciplinary, and in true sense we improve this gross enrollment ratio also, and how we can convert our deemed universities, which are 4 in number, into the model research universities by 2030. We have submitted a plan to government